Yeah, we'll talk about it. Yeah. What time are you done? 6. I'll text you.
Oh, by the way,
Text me
I'm
when you're
over
ready.
7.
Oh, good job. Did you walk around your office in circle?
It just happened. Like, I think.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, I think it's caught up. Now I just gotta work on the calories.
We did it. I'll see you on Monday.
Yeah.
You're here with me today, right?
Bye.
I know. I'm excited to see you guys on Monday. What are you taking right now?
Rachel. And.
On the other, yeah. You'll get your steps. Just walk around, walk around. All right, I'll see you Monday. Have a good class. Yeah, I'm doing my medicine.
Oh, I do know you do.
Yeah.
She does have this. Oh, God. If we look at pledge, I think the. Whatever. Is she? That's the. Okay. Okay. That's awesome. What's going on? Awesome. That's awesome.
Get some snacks up here if y'all want to get a snack before we start. One minute. All right, it's 4:15, so we're gonna get started and we will have more folks joining us. Right? This person, hello. I'm Dr. Lindsay Maldonado. Some of you I know, some of you I don't know. So we will spend some time getting to know each other today and throughout this class. I will save my introduction for a little bit. We'll do a little icebreaker to start. And if you'd like a snack, please come up and get a snack. If you have snack preferences or allergies, let me know so I can get to them for everyone. I was a student who was often hungry in class, and I couldn't focus because my stomach was growling the whole time. So I feel the need to always bring snacks. And I'm just a snacker. All right, so welcome to 355. You're all here for that, right? Okay, great. We're gonna do a quick little icebreaker and then we'll do some kind of round robin introduction. So I know all of you probably know each other, but I don't know you all, so we'll get to know each other through that. But let's just stand up and grab your phone and pick a photo, any photo, recent photo, old photo, and just talk to somebody in the class about that picture. Show it to them, why you picked that photo, what it means to you. It could be your child, it could be your dog or your cat, or a selfie that you took, or a trip you went on. So yeah, just get up and walk around for a moment and talk to each other. And then we'll come back and do some introductions. So take a minute and find a picture you would like to share. Hi, welcome. Come on in. We're just doing a quick icebreaker. So if you can find a photo on your phone that you like that says something about yourself. And then you can just we'll walk around and kind of. Let's stand up too, so we can stretch our legs. And I know that this classroom is a weird configuration, so walking through around isn't easy, but we'll do our best.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's been my.
My picture that I chose is me dressed as Batman with my kids. Because I love teaching and I'm silly, I guess so.
You work at a daycare or?
Yeah, I'm a preschool teacher. So, I don't know.
I went over the winter break. I went to see Wicked
Oh, that's amazing.
on Christmas.
Yeah?
Yeah.
On Christmas?
Yeah, on
Oh,
Christmas.
wow.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it too.
I watched. I thought my brother would be moving, but they were still.
Yeah.
And then one was really still. I thought he was like, well,
Yeah.
gonna move. None of them moved. They both one both finished half the popcorn when he was watching the movie.
Yeah.
And I think he would finish like half the popcorn like or like the middle or toward the end.
Yeah.
And it was like 2 hour long.
Yeah, it was long.
And then we watched it again the part two this year.
Yeah, which is nice that it's gonna be done soon, so. I'll have pictures of my dogs. This is my one dog. And that's.
Oh, you got two dogs? They're small dogs.
No, they're big. The pictures just make them
Oh,
look
yeah.
small. Yeah. She's bigger than he is, but, yeah, I got two. Yeah.
Are you doing your clinical at your school?
Yeah, so my first one I'm doing at my center, and then the next one I have to do.
CPS?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing it on the one in campus.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Do you live around here? Do
I
you
live in the south side.
Okay. So is it far? Like how far?
I live in near Chinatown.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's not too bad.
So like, if I take the train up here, like maybe like an hour or two.
Yeah.
Then I took the bus. 92.
Yeah.
After I get off the train.
I guess that's, yeah.
It's like a bit closer for me. And then when I did the other technical clinical, it was close to my little brother, my old school. I went when I was in elementary school, so it was pretty close for me.
I live like 45 minutes. I just start back and forth. But my work is closer, so I just come after work. And Monday. Yeah. That'll be fun. It's my first one. So.
I told you, apparently we have 50 hours for the station and 50 for the company.
Yeah.
I know what's the full one. Split to a full. There are other preschool classrooms on your station?
Yeah, so we're like 1 year to 5. So we don't have an infant room.
We're here. 15 months. We're gonna do a 15 months here.
I love babies. I wish we had a baby room.
There's 4 classrooms on the campus.
Yeah, we have 5. So we're still small. But it's so nice.
I started at the daycare on campus last summer.
Yeah, is it nice? I've never went to. It is. It's
light
nice,
is
and they have like very good amenities.
The light in the classroom is very bright. The energy is like way better.
That's good. That's important. Our classroom lights like half of them are warm and then half of them are like bright. So it's like good lighting. It's weird setting.
Yeah, it's great.
It is. Let's start a picture. Usually I take 5. Oh, okay.
I'm only about the Monday, Wednesday.
My picture is I'll show everybody. I got a new dog. Winter break. Yeah, so this is our big dog. Okay. And this is the new addition. Yeah. Yeah. Very high energy. We're okay.
And she was in the 306 and the whip class.
Yeah.
The other ones, I don't know.
I've been impressed with every film. You'll hear all that.
Tesco class.
All right, let's take another minute and then we'll come back and we'll just introduce each other. And if you need a snack, please come and get a snack. All right. All right, well, I saw some great pictures. Hope you all had good conversations. I know many of you know each other, so it wasn't like an introduction, but so I'll just talk a little bit about me and then you all we'll go around and introduce ourselves. So this is my family and I have a 9-year-old son. He's in 4th grade, so you'll hear me talk about him a lot. My husband is actually a teacher as well. He's a high school math teacher. He and I both went to Northeastern as undergrads and graduated from here. I was a psych major. And obviously he's a teacher, so came here just like you all to become a teacher. These are my COVID cats up here, Kirby and Kupo. We got them during the pandemic in 2020. They're much bigger now. Every time I show these pictures, I'm like, I need to update all these photos because they're much bigger now. This guy right here, this is Teddy. He's our dog, our first dog, the original dog. You know, the dog is like the best dog ever. And then you're like, I want to have another dog. And then you go and you get another dog, and that dog it's crazy. So that's what we did over winter break. We got this crazy girl right here. That's Winter. She's a 2-year-old. We think she's a Pomsky. Teddy is just a crazy mutt. He's like a lab boxer chow mix. I don't know, but he's the best dog. This is my son here on the right at Shed Aquarium, where I worked for many, many years before coming here to Northeastern. My prior life took me through many places. I worked in childcare with mostly preschoolers. I worked in museums, developing programs for young children and families. And then I spent many years, 11 years at Shed Aquarium as the director of research and evaluation. So I did that prior to coming here. This is my 4th year here at Northeastern. And as I said, I'm an alum, so coming back as a faculty is really exciting. And blending kind of my child development background and my education background, particularly thinking about museums and informal ed, and you'll do some assignments related to that in this class. Visiting a museum or having, developing a field trip of your choice. So yeah, I got my master's from the Erickson Institute in Child Development, and I got my PhD in Child Development from Loyola. And yeah, now I'm here with you, and I'm really excited to get to know all of you a little bit more, and we will explore math, science, social studies, STEAM, STEM, all of the content related to that in this class. It's very hands-on. We'll do a lot of hands-on work, and we'll talk a little bit about the kind of class format, the hybrid format, what that looks like. Any questions for me? Okay, so that's me. There's Gladys. Hi, Gladys.
I know just there because like you brought it like the whole semester, so.
Oh. Thank you. You did. But yes, please come and get snacks. I always drink that. I ordered bulk Costco, so I have so many. All right, so you'll get to know more about me throughout this semester. But let me learn about you a little bit. So we'll just go around and just, tell me your name, preferred pronouns, what grade you want to teach if you have a preference. Or maybe you're in the non-licensure track, and so what you want to do with that. How long have you been here at Northeastern? Do you have a favorite song? I will send out a link to collect favorite songs because I like to make playlists for all of my classes so that when we have like group time, you can just like listen to music that we like. And then just, give us at least one fun fact, do something, book you're reading, show you're binging right now or anything. So, who wants to start? Everyone's okay. And I'm just gonna sit up. Oh, I think, yeah, Olivia will go we'll go like this, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Olivia, my pronouns are she, her. I would like to teach kindergarten when I'm done. Been at Northeastern since last spring, so just 3 semesters up. My favorite song at the moment is probably Let It Happen by Tammy Paula.
That's a good
And then a fun fact about myself is it's very random. I high-fived Taylor Swift when I was like 12 at her concert.
Oh, fun. I went to a Taylor Swift cover band, Burning Red. I'm not really, I like Taylor Swift. She's great. She does great things, but I wouldn't say I'm a Swiftie.
Yeah.
But a bunch of my mom friends went with their daughters, and so I went along. And, man,
That's a lot.
yeah, it was a lot. Those Swiftie girls, those little ones, they were
Yeah.
wild.
They are hard.
They were wild. Yeah, they had a great time. All right, great. Go ahead.
My name is Acacia, but my pronouns are she, her. I want to teach preschool. This is my 3rd year in NYU. My favorite song is Left Is On My Way. And one fun fact about myself is I also volunteer with high schoolers and preschoolers at my church on Sundays.
Nice. What do you do with your volunteer? What does that entail?
I get to mentor the high schoolers.
Oh, great.
And I get to just hang out with the high schoolers.
Awesome. Nice, great. Right. Gladys. you want to-
So my name is Gladys, I pronounce she, her. The grade, it will be, pre-K. And, I've been here since spring last year. My favorite song right now, it will be Beautiful Things. My favorite book, Five Language of Love. My favorite place to travel, I'm dying to go to Italy, so hopefully that happens this year. I love doing Zumba and exercise, and we just got a hamster. My 7-year-old.
Oh. How's that? How's hamster life?
Well, this is his third one, so usually
Oh.
they bite and they're
Yikes.
really aggressive.
I don't know if that's a
but
good
this
thing or
one
not.
comes like around and like even my 3-year-old is playing with her. Her name is
Oh,
Bella.
great.
So we've been doing good so far since Christmas. That was the
All right, fingers crossed. Awesome. All right, good luck with your hamster.
My name is Mandy. My pronouns are she, her. I'm not sure, but right now I'm in a daycare with toddlers. I've been here since spring 2021. I don't have a favorite song at the moment, and one fun fact is that I have 3 little brothers, yeah, of different age. One's a senior, one's in 7th grade, one's in 5th grade. Yeah, fifth grade. Yeah.
My name's Julia, she, her. Right now I'm a preschool teacher for ages 4 and 5. I'm going to get my license, and I've always wanted to teach like elementary school. I really love preschool, but also I've been having conversations with people who teach middle school and stuff. So I might start exploring that. I always thought people were crazy for teaching middle school, but like after like having these like conversations, I've kind of thought about it a little harder. So I'm still kind of exploring that. I've been at NEIU for 2 years now, I think. 2.5 maybe. And my favorite song right now, I don't even know. I looked it up. I listen to a lot of songs.
No pressure for the song.
Maybe like Keep Your Head Up by Tupac. And then
Oh.
and then I have 2 dogs. We have the same situation where my first
One is
dog
great.
was
One's
perfect,
also-
amazing. She's a little stinky, but our second dog is definitely, he's like weird, but yeah.
Yeah. Happens.
Yeah.
Awesome.
My name is Nancy. I prefer pronouns she, her. I would like to teach kindergarten. And I took a break from Northeastern for a while and I came back. I started in fall 2023. My favorite song, it's a Christmas song, All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey. I took my daughter actually, she turned 10, to see her Christmas concert in November. We had a lot of fun. I like to bake, and we have a pet hermit crab and boxer, like American bully mix, and he's like the biggest baby. That's it.
Hi, my name's Crystal. She, her. The grade I like to teach is preschool, so about 4 and 5s. I've been at for about 2.5 years. And favorite song right now is Hold On by Esperanza Spalding. It's kind of like a jazzy. And then I like to do yoga. And I have 2 cats and a pet snake.
Ooh, what kind of snake do you have?
It's a corn snake.
Ooh, nice.
Really sweet. Likes to read.
We will take a field trip to the North Park Village Nature Center in the spring, and they have snake there. Hopefully.
I also got Independence Grove over the Pine Forest.
Oh, cool. Okay. So. Great. Right, I love that.
I'm Alondra. for pronouns she, her. I would like to teach reading and learning. I've been at Northeastern since fall 2020. My favorite song right now is TMF by Kevin. And my favorite movie would be Rocky 3.
All right.
Um, and I think it's very, I really like it when um, for the TV show, I would like to do the same thing. It's that thing. That's also my favorite thing about what is today.
Great.
I'm not gonna lie, for she here down the two kindergarten. My second year at NIU. Favorite song right now. I don't know if it's okay. And then fun fact on is like I went to Dubai 2 weeks ago, and I'm also getting married.
Everyone's getting married.
I know there's some marriages happening here. Exciting.
My name is Alex. It started here. It's my favorite. TV show I just binge watched all of Bridgerton.
Oh,
So I've not seen anything, and then once I watched the first one, good stuff.
yeah, so great.
It's great. Then favorite is trouble.
And is there a grade you want to teach or what
So I
you
always
you're done?
thought I wanted like preschool kindergarten, but I don't know what I'm basing that off of, because I've not been in
Sure,
a classroom
yeah.
with any of them.
Right.
So
So now so this, are you doing your clinical semester as well?
I am. I'm
So
really-
you'll do, yeah, so you'll do pre-K and you'll see
Yeah,
if that's, it's a good fit.
I don't know. I would.
Right.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
exactly. Yeah, open. Great, thanks.
My name's Malaya, so like she, her. I wouldn't want to teach anything above the third grade.
You're in the right place.
I've been here since the fall of 2020. It's my last year, so thank God for this. My favorite song right now, I'm listening to SZA's whole album. Really nice. A fun fact, I'm the president of a sorority here.
Awesome.
My name is Rachel. Wait, I want to, think regarding stuff. I've been at Northeastern 2 years. Favorite song is Accept. And one fun fact, I'm looking forward to 75
Where are you going in Hawaii? Okay. Great.
My name is Diana. She, her. The grades that I would want to teach is either preschool or kindergarten. I've been at Northeastern, I think 3 years now. Favorite song right now, I think would be TV by Billie Eilish. One fun fact about me is that I've been a nanny for 3 years now.
How old is the child or children?
Now it's 4.
Wow.
But I'm done.
They are- Yes,
No, I think I said it now.
you have a good,
Because I started 3 years ago with them.
yeah, that's a good range, all in this early
Yeah.
childhood. Right, you'll have good reference points for things in this class. Thanks.
Friends are and the programs are she for in school kindergarten. This is my 3rd semester here. I don't know what my favorite song is, but I think Bad Bunny
Some Bad Bunny fans in here.
I have a French school class. I think it's on which is two. French is crazy.
Awesome.
My name is Mandy. I go by Jesus. So the grades are mostly like useful and exciting because I have to do like any kind of problem. Well, used to. Now I don't have to. I've been in here for maybe like 2 years now. And then right now, my favorite song that's currently is Don't Smile by Sabrina Carpenter. Kind of a softer song, so like I like soft songs. And then a TV show I'm watching right now is called Yellow Jackets. I just got on the second season and it's kind of taking a bit of a turn. I was like, oh, I didn't expect this. But
Are you gonna stick it out, or you're like,
yeah,
okay?
it's interesting.
I've heard a lot of good things about that show.
Yeah. The hobby I would say is I do a lot of arts and crafts for my nieces.
Great.
We build 10 planes and train stations. I even had to the point where like I'm making plane tickets, 10 plane tickets. And, like,
That's great. You're in the right place.
and like passports. They're like, oh, but we need a passport. Like my niece was like, we have a passport, but where's our passport? I'm like, we're gonna use real passports.
Right.
And so yeah, that's kind of the hobbies I have right now.
It's great.
My name is Cecily, but I come from the chief first. I dabbled in a lot of things since I worked at something, yes, for 5 years now. So I think I want to do first grade. I don't know yet. I've been here for 2.5 years. My favorite song. I've also been obsessed with the album, but I think my favorite song is my favorite book is Secret Love. I like to that's why one rapper that fits.
Awesome. Everyone. Great. Well, it's nice to meet many of you and learn a little bit about each of you. And like I said, I will get to know you all more, and you will get to know me more throughout the semester. What can I add here? I just read the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Has anyone read that? Oh, so good. I found it at the thrift store, so I bought it. I usually read on my Kindle, so it was like weird to go back to an actual book. And then I finished the first in the series, The Housemaid. So you read that thing? Yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
And they're all like.
Yeah, I'm reading the second one in that series right now. So, and I just finished Outlander season 7. It's an Outlander fan. Did you watch that?
You watch that?
I did.
I haven't watched the last season.
Well, because they took such a big break. Yeah, I know. This is what I hate about the way they do shows now, right? Just like sometimes comes on and then sometimes it takes 2 years for a new season. But I know like COVID messed up a lot of like some of the, filming. But yeah, I just finished the season. So there's only one season left. It's not out yet. And Abbott Elementary, who watches that? All of you should watch that. Oh my, so good, so good. And as future teachers, it's just a whole vibe. You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it. So good, so good. All right, great. Thank you for all the info. A couple of other things I just like to let everyone know, right, kind of where I come from and my teaching philosophy. If you've had a class with me before, you've heard this whole spiel already. So I don't know, just keep listening or look into the stars. But I am a big fan of bell hooks. How many of you have read bell hooks or know of bell hooks? Nobody? Oh my God. Everyone needs to look her up when we leave this class, and you need to find one book, find her and read it. She is amazing. RIP, she is no longer with us. She passed away 4 years ago now, I think. But she has written many books about feminism and education, and she really looks at education as a form of freedom, as a way that we could express ourselves in whatever way we want and know how to think critically, and she's amazing. And so I really look to her and her writing when I think about education and how I like to teach and how I want to inform all of my students. And so I like to just let everybody know that that's kind of where I come from. She has really thought about kind of shifting ideas about discourse around education and thinking about non-dominant ways of thinking and learning and knowing, right? Obviously, so much of what we've been taught is based on colonization and ideas of whiteness, and we have to kind of shift our perspectives and think differently, right? And really acknowledge that a lot of what we've learned in almost every class we've ever taken our whole life is coming from a certain perspective. And so she really challenges us to think critically and challenge those dominant discourses that we hear. And now is no better time to start doing that than now, I think, right? So, so anyway, so look her up. She's amazing. She has many, many books. To read something by her, even if it's something short. Another bell hooks quote here, but one thing too I want us all to do together as a class is really think about kind of the norms at which we're going to engage with each other. We won't have a lot of like big debates I think in this class, just given the context of what it's a methods class. But there is some content, that we might have differing opinions on, and I just want to make sure that we have a safe space for all of us to engage and talk about these things. And so just want to establish some group norms. So any thoughts on what those might be? So how do we kind of create that culture of inclusion in our classroom where we're all feeling safe to talk about and express our feelings on whatever it is we're going to be talking about? Not all at once. Yeah, go ahead.
Get the family involved, parents.
So just here, think about our
Oh.
class. But that's good. Think about your own classroom someday. Yes, you'll have to think about those. But just our class here so that we can engage in conversation together in a safe space where we're not feeling like we're going to be judged or criticized or feeling a certain way or having a certain opinion. Sure, yeah. 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 So yeah, just being open, right? Just like active listening and asking questions for clarity, right? We might hear something, but maybe that isn't what that person meant, right? So making sure that we're clarifying things too, so that we're hearing the true meaning, and or we're providing feedback in a really critical, kind way, right? What else? I like to think too, like we're assuming good intentions, right? We're all coming from a good place. We all want to be educators of young children, right? So I think that when we talk and say things, we're generally coming from a good place, right? Sometimes we don't articulate things well, maybe, or like I was saying, right, it comes off a different way. So always checking for understanding and making sure that we're clear about what each other are talking about. I have no doubt that everyone in this classroom will do those things well. That we will, and all in my teaching here, I've never had any issues, and so I suspect that that will be the same. That we will all be respectful to each other and maintain a safe space for us to talk about things. If anyone at any time is ever feeling like something rubbed them the wrong way that a classmate said or something that I said, obviously, please come and talk to me. I'm here. I'm open. Communication is really important to me. And I just, if you've had me before, it's just let me know what's going on. Just talk to me. Okay, that's all. That's all I ask for. All right, so we're gonna do a little game. This is a human Likert scale. So we're all gonna stand up, and I'm gonna present you with some statements, and then we're going to use our room as a Likert scale, right? So we'll say this side is 1, right? So you strongly disagree, and this side is 5, where you strongly agree. Okay. So I'll do the first one, and then we can all stand up. It's important to engage infants and toddlers in learning about STEM. So strongly disagree, strongly agree. So stand up and move to, and you could be in the middle too, right? Maybe there's a middle, right? 1 to 5 scale. So it's important to engage infants and toddlers in learning about STEM. Do you strongly disagree? Or do you strongly agree that you need to engage infants and toddlers in STEM? Okay. So most folks are on this side. Does anyone want to tell us why they're over here? Okay, so starting early sets a foundation for later skills. Other thoughts? This is the strongly disagree side. Okay, that's okay. Okay. It's all right. Okay, so now we don't even have to come to this side. Is anyone in the middle? Or we're all over here, Jen? Jammed on that side. Okay, all right. Next one. Worksheets are an important learning tool in early childhood. Strongly disagree, strongly agree. All right, we have a little more variability here. Okay, these are the strongly disagree camp over here. Anyone want to say why you're on this side?
I guess, instead of like, when it was basically it's better just to practice and like doing everything in the classroom. So like, maybe just for like, tracing and stuff like that, but that's the reason why.
Sure. So there's some purpose
Yes.
for it, but generally find another way. Yes. Right. All right. The middle, there's a big middle. There's actually nobody on this side then, right? No one is okay. Okay. Right. Okay. So you should, Gladys, you should move a little more this way then. Right.
Be cutting or writing or tracing.
Sure.
Okay.
Is anybody on the, no, Cicely, you were there, but then you moved over. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mostly practice their thing. It's been like what if I find next during like even like 1 or 2 I was like, here, take this pencil, like scribble on.
Yeah.
It's important to like expose them.
Sure. Yes. Any other thoughts about worksheets? Oh,
Preschoolers build their like face and it's their thought, and that's like, oh, can you draw something on this piece of paper? Like
mhm.
draw your person, draw, and then so you get to see like if they're learning like, oh, these are the legs. Because at first, like, one was mine, she was just drawing a circle and like just little sticks, and I was like, okay, these are the legs, and she'll
Yeah.
describe it, and then now she's drawing like the whole body, so that's like something. So
So that's why.
Yes, but what I'm hearing is using paper in a very open-ended way, right? Which to me is different from a worksheet that is real, yeah, go ahead.
So I use worksheets in my class. My kids, I don't know if I would use them in younger groups, but since I'm like pre-kindergarten,
Mm-hmm.
I use worksheets for handwriting. Majority of the time, like a ton of it is just handwriting. So I think in that aspect, it's important. So like we write like the ABCs and like they go through like the steps, like you trace it a couple of times and then it gets like lighter and lighter as they go, and then they have to practice themselves, and then there's like a couple words they could write if they want. Their names too. For like open-ended worksheets, like sometimes you can print lines on a paper
Right.
for them to follow and cut. And then sometimes I do send home like a worksheet or so, like if the kid needs a little extra practice or anything like that, but I do use worksheets and I find that they are helpful.
Okay.
In that scenario.
Yeah. Great.
It's also important for them to like see the organization in worksheets, so they're seeing the format, like reading like left from right, left to right, sorry, and then also seeing like how we flow on.
Yeah, so for writing, I see this, right, the print and having a space that's like defined for handwriting or it's practicing letters. I am a pretty like anti-worksheet person. I think there's lots of ways that we can use other open-ended sources like a math journal or a science journal or a printed piece of, right, paper. They make those handwriting papers, right, for young children if you're practicing letters. And so I just, so for me, and this is just me, right, I see them for practice, right? For sending home, maybe for homework, right? I think those are ways to think about how to get parents engaged and let parents know what's happening in the classroom. Extra practice, right? I see the use of them in that way. But generally, I'm like not a huge worksheet fan, so I will challenge you throughout this class to find alternatives to worksheets or make your own, right? I think that those are also, right? Think about the needs of your students, the students in your classroom and their particular needs and how you can tailor worksheets to support them individually, as opposed to just, making 30 copies of whatever was in some teachers pay teachers thing or something, right? Or create your own teachers pay teachers page, right? Like you make something great and then share it, but start, right? I think that the thinking about universal design for learning and thinking about differentiation and how worksheets might not be supporting some of those ideas, right? But okay, I'll get off my worksheet. So all right, STEM learning can happen through play. So strongly disagree, strongly agree. STEM learning can happen through play. So this is the disagree side, and this is the agree. STEM learning can happen through play. All right. Way to go, early childhood teachers. This is probably where you should be. So this makes sense. Any thoughts? Any reasons why you're over here?
My classroom is like a play-based center or a play-based
Yeah, great.
classroom, so we do a lot of it through hands-on, but like for we use like counting bears, we make slime,
Yep.
do like science experiments, so it's a lot of it's hands-on, and I think for the subjects, like it's pretty easy to make hands-on things, and for these kids, like it's around
Yeah,
everything.
definitely.
So I think that's the best way that they absorb this information. This is like heavy stuff in a sense, so it's like if they like watch it happen and they can like feel it happening and like see it like actually happening, they understand that more through experience than reading it to them.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so hands-on, right? Learning through play. This is a very early childhood way of thinking. And I think it's important, right, for you all as teachers to be thinking about then, as we talk about particularly early math in this class, kind of noting and understanding the developmental trajectories of math and what you should be looking for in these more open-ended experiences to truly understand how and where that child is at when it comes to their math abilities. So those will be, right, when you're using more open-ended activities, it's really falling on you as the teacher, right, to be able to like quickly assess what's going on and see when help is needed. And but you all will learn that hopefully in this class, and so you'll be pros by the end on how to do that. All right, so I feel confident in my ability to teach math. Strongly disagree, strongly agree, somewhere in the middle.
Early childhood, right? I mean, it's just apples.
Get out of here, Gladys. All right, yeah, okay. This is what I see usually every semester. This is the configuration. We have one very strong, confident person over here. Do you want to tell us? Yeah, great. So you have experience and you're feeling confident in teaching math and STEM, maybe. So lots of, yeah, okay. All right, how about our everyone against the wall over here?
Number 4.
So sincerely, I understand that. I've only helped older people, like my sister or just some classmates before with math, and I noticed that like every time I'm like explaining it, and I'm like, yeah, so do you get it? Like after a few times explaining it, and they're like, no, I still have no clue, and I'm like, what do you mean? Like I just explained it, and then I go a different route, and then I'm like, yeah, so does that help? No, oh, okay, and then like I start like getting a little bit like, wait, what do you mean? I can be like 3 different ways, and then, but that's obviously with older kids, so I've never really taught that to younger kids.
Yeah.
That's not like
Great. You can do it. You definitely can.
yeah,
It's okay. You know fraction. Yeah, you do. You do. You do.
I know how to cut a pizza, so.
Exactly. You know how to cut a pizza, you know fraction. Definitely go ahead.
the way they're teaching kids math now, like when I was in 2nd grade 2 years ago, and I had to, they're introducing like 5 different ways to add, to divide. So you have to teach them all these different ways so they can either like kind of
Yes.
and we got to like word problems. I said, yeah, I'm gonna look at the answer sheet because it was just it was so hard to me, but it was 2nd grade math. So I was like, and I've never been like a strong math. Like I can't do math in my head. I've never been like so like I feel like I don't.
So I think this is a really great point that you brought up. The way that we teach math now to young people is very different from probably the ways in which we learned math when we were younger. Because the way that we learned math was very, very procedural, right? So we learned steps and what to do, right? You do this first, and then you do this second, and then you do this third. This is a terrible way to teach young children how to do things, right? You need to teach them conceptual understanding. They need to understand what it is they're trying to do and how they're going to get there, and that there's many ways that you can solve a problem. There's not just one procedure in which you're going to get to the right answer. And so now we teach them many different ways, right, to think more critically. And it obviously helps students kind of fit align that learning with their own way of understanding things. So maybe one way of doing it is easier for one student than the other. And so, yeah, so standard algorithm for doing, addition or multiplication, right, of multiple numbers, that is all we ever learned when we were in elementary school for the most part, right? And that's changing. And you don't have to do that necessarily, right? But I think we'll learn about and think about conceptual understanding, math, and the importance of really getting away from procedural ways of doing things, right? This kind of rote way. Any other thoughts about math?
Sometimes it's hard because like we like for certain problems like we know the answer, so I don't know how good I am like gonna be like explaining it, like I know like 4 + 4 is 8, like, but like explaining that to a kid,
Mhm.
it's like it is, but like.
Well, and that's why
Why?
we start, right, and again, we'll talk about all of these things, right, so this is why we think about the kind of learning trajectories and the developmental trajectories of how you teach particular content, so in this class, math, right? And so that there are ways, right, that we're going to build up to that understanding, and hopefully you all will build up your own understanding too, right? If you haven't been taught that way or you haven't thought about it in that way. And so, right, we think about these really concrete ways that children learn. We know that developmentally that's what they're doing when they're very young, right? And then they're moving to things like pictorial ways and other kinds of representation of number. And then we're moving to symbolic thinking, right? Where we're actually thinking about numbers, right? So we move from counting markers to maybe like drawing, circles. And then how many do we have, right? So then we move to symbols. So this idea of like moving from concrete things, so I'm counting 4 markers, to being able to draw and represent that number, to symbols. This is the trajectory. This is how we're going to teach young children math and maybe ourselves, right? Which is totally fine. Okay, so let's say I feel confident in my ability to teach science. Where do we go? Just shifted. We're moving around. We moved a little. Some of us moved to the middle. Some of us moved right here. Right. This side. Oh, good question. So, yeah. So, in this class, we will talk about science. We will talk about life science, earth and space science, physical science, and STEM, right? So, all right. Okay, so let's start over here. So you've already told us about STEAM's camp, right, Crystal? So, all right, what would you like to tell us about your?
I just enjoy science a lot.
Okay.
And I feel like for me, at least, whenever I teach the kids, it's often a lot more visual than other things that I teach. They're a lot more hands-on. Like we can make a volcano. I can show them physically the different states of matter.
Yeah,
Things like that. So
great.
I think
Yes.
that's like the best way to offer for them to participate. So,
Right.
see and have a-
Yeah, so science is very hands-on, it's very interactive, and so we sometimes feel more comfortable in teaching in that way. By the way, I love your corduroy jacket, dress, that's great, I love it. You'll have to tell me where you got that when we're done with that. Right, so, but the point here too is that we need to make math that way. Math can also be hands-on, right? We can integrate it with other content areas, we can integrate it with science. Obviously, when we do STEM, we'll be thinking about the integration of all of these content areas. So, but yeah, science is kind of traditionally, particularly in early childhood, I mean, even throughout life, is a little bit more hands-on. We've got experimentation and things like that. All right, so this camp over here, the wall camp over here.
It's just like my lack of confidence for me.
Oh,
Because I think as a kid, I felt like I was never good at science.
Yeah.
So then it was kind of like a disconnection between science. I mean,
and that makes sense.
Yeah.
This is what research tells us. Yeah, research tells us that like we don't feel confident in, we've had a bad experience in our own learning.
We
Then
block ourselves.
we feel like I don't like this subject. I most certainly can't teach it, right? But we're gonna change that hopefully. What were you thinking about science when you were staying kind of towards the middle?
Yes.
Okay, so environmental science.
Or,
We'll talk about that. Yeah, geography, yeah, that's earth
Which
science.
I'm a little bit more, I think it's only because I'm interested in it,
Sure,
not because.
Right.
I don't teach it.
yeah,
I think that, so like you're saying confidence for me is more like, I don't care. Like I'm not interested.
right.
So that's why I'm gonna teach them. I'm like doing like a big thing on the board, the letters and symbols and the numbers.
Periodic table.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's.
Like,
Well, good thing.
Oh, no.
We don't need to teach the periodic table to our students in early childhood, so you don't have to worry about that.
Like, they're not interested.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I'm just not interested.
Right. Well, hopefully we'll get everyone interested and excited about science.
And there's a different right type of science.
Yeah, and the right way to teach it, I think, right? I think that's really key, is being able to teach it in a way that's fun and engaging for both you as the teacher and for the children, your students, right? It's not just about you're not up there like doing a song and dance, right? Just for them, for your students. You need to be engaged too, right? This is your students are gonna know that like, man, science sucks because like, you know,
Oh, but
Miss
like,
Gladys hates it, right? So like, I don't know that I like this either. So yeah.
So like right now, like currently my second child, he's in second grade,
Mhm.
and the other one is like, well, not even pre-K, but he's doing an early pre-K.
Right.
But I see a big difference between them and my oldest,
Yeah.
because like they didn't have this many projects to do. Like for Christmas, my son, he got like 15 boxes of projects because he loved doing like all these science things.
Right.
And like you just mentioned, it's like math included because like, you have to measure and like things like that. And like, sometimes you thought it was harder, but like now and everything, it's like, like they tell you how to do it. Like even kids without reading it, they know how to do it. So
Right.
it's,
Yeah, so it's changing, right?
Mhm.
And because we know a lot more about early childhood and how young children learn than we did maybe like back in my day. right?
yeah.
So, all right. Well, everyone's going to be super psyched about science and math, hopefully after this class. All right. How about I feel confident in my ability to teach social studies? Disagree? Agree? Oh, we got some shits. We've got
what kind
Yeah.
of social studies?
so early childhood social studies, which we will talk about in several weeks, but not the president. You might talk about it. We'll avoid talking about the president as much as we can. So in early childhood social studies is really so. Does everyone remember Yuri Bronfenbrenner, the ecological systems theory? No, people's faces are like, what in the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, really.
Okay, so Yuri Bronfenbrenner is a theorist who developed the ecological systems theory, which is essentially this idea that actually, let me give it to someone else who nodded. You, Julia, were you? Okay. Do you feel confident? Who feels confident? And Olivia, you took my class. Man, you guys, I failed you. You too. All right. So Yuri Bronfenbrenner, right? Ecological systems theory. So this idea that there's like, these systems of surround. This is the me, right? The kid or the right. And then there's like the family, right? And then the neighborhood. So this is essentially how to think about social studies in early childhood, right? Is that you will first be learning about me, my own identity, right? What makes me me, what I like and I don't like. And then it starts to shift out, right, through these systems. Is now just, yeah, you remember? You remember? Who else took my 303 class? Remember, yeah. So that's how we think about social studies in early childhood, right? That you start with the self, and then you start thinking about your family and your culture and your community and your neighborhood. Start thinking about, then you start thinking about bigger systems that you will maybe think about, like talk about government. You'll talk about kind of democratic processes, but you won't necessarily talk about government necessarily. Right. So like in class, you vote. Exactly. Right. So you think about those kinds of things. So that's social studies. So if we all moved where we think.
We didn't voting. Remember?
Yeah, we did that. Yeah. Yeah. You guys made a thing, right? Yeah. Guys, like, I know how to do this now. I did it one time last semester and I am a pro.
And I remember.
All right. So you all are confident. Tell us why. Okay.
I just like that stuff. So plus I feel like with younger kids, it's like fun to teach. Like I obviously in high school you were probably, but like with the kids, it's like interesting to see that learn about themselves like other.
Yeah.
And you like connected to their lives.
Yeah.
So it's
Yes.
like interesting. to
We should be
watch
collecting,
them.
connecting everything to their lives though, too.
Oh, yeah, but like
Yeah.
at the beginning, like
Yeah.
they start with themselves, and then you go to
Sure,
their family.
right.
Yeah.
And preschoolers love to talk about themselves.
In the
It's
family.
just
Yeah,
fun
yeah.
to like. teach
Right.
them study.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think for science too, I just think I know more about social studies than I do
Sure.
for science.
Yeah.
So like science, I was pretty close over here though, but like social studies, I always find it super interesting. Not a lot of people like studies, but
Yeah.
like for younger kids,
Sure.
connecting it all. Oh, that's good.
Mhm.
You teach them like different social skills.
Right,
All those
yes. Mm-hmm.
So you just like watch them grow from when they start at the beginning of the year, and then now they can have a full conversation, solve problems by themselves, and they know
Yep.
where they came from and who's in their house and all that stuff. So it's pretty interesting
Right.
to
So
watch
I
them
think,
grow.
yes, social studies is is kind of both a content area, right? And also is obviously like a developmental domain, right? Thinking about that you grow and learn social skills, you learn how to use language in certain ways to help with conflict resolution, right? So those are all things that are part of the social studies in early childhood. So both thinking about maybe content that you would talk about, like your neighborhood and what's in your neighborhood, and community jobs, right? Things like that. And then all of these other kind of skills that you're mentioning, right? So those are all a part of the social studies, interpersonal skills. How about over here? Or are you all on this side? Or anyone in the middle? Wanna? Anyone can chime in. I think the quick-
It's okay. What I was first with this project where they talk about their heritage,
Mhm.
that like they make posters and stuff. Like I suppose.
Yeah.
At first I was thinking of like president, the Constitution. But like I feel
Yeah.
like as I got older and I learned what's in history, what's not, what it was, I feel like at first I was like, I don't want to. How do you teach something you don't? But then
Yeah.
like you said it's not that.
Welcome to being a teacher.
Yeah.
Think about I have much more freedom as a teacher of higher ed, right? We have a lot of academic freedom, and you all will as well in classrooms here. Hopefully that will maintain itself here in Chicago and in Illinois. But yes, this is a real important thought. Because some places are being forced to teach certain kinds of history and certain kinds of social studies and not teach about other things. So not doesn't happen. Other thoughts about the social studies?
For me, it's like the concept, and it's just that I haven't applied it as a have experience in that area. So I'm just in this. I don't know yet.
Yeah. Great. Well, you're in the right place because we'll talk about that. All right. So math, science, and social studies are easily integrated content areas. So I can teach these subjects all together. You disagree, agree? It's also okay if we don't know.
What do you mean that you're integrated?
So, what do you all think that means to teach
Combine.
integrated?
Combined.
So combined together. So you're teaching a lesson that might include multiple content areas.
Why not?
Yeah, sure. I like your attitude. Why not? Agree. Why not? Okay. Why did you stick here?
I think it's like a lot of these subjects just always you know, right? So like if you're doing like the volcanoes, I feel like it's a team. So that those social skills, they have to take turns. They might have to vote on things.
They can measure. And I want them together to build it, and then like the experiment stuff and what
Yeah.
happens, like money, stuff like that. Just put it all together. Like, I think they all kind of connect in some way naturally.
Yeah, and volcanoes are like landforms and geography about where volcanoes are in the world and where they aren't. Yeah. Right, that's a great example. All right, this middle smush here. We're all in the middle. No one's over here really. Are you over here, Rachel? Oh, no. Any thoughts from the middle?
I feel like I just have to
Yeah.
learn like exactly how to like integrate it.
Yep.
I think eventually, like obviously when I over there, but like right now,
That is the hope.
I would struggle like trying to just figure everything out, like do everything, but I feel also literally setting up the rock picture, so eventually I'll get things. Why not?
Yeah. But it can be done. Yeah. Right. So we'll learn about and talk about project approach. How many of you have heard this before? Project approach. You should have.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm like, everyone who took my class last semester, we talked about it. Yeah, so we will talk about project approach in this class, and that is a great way to integrate content areas. So you learn about that. Okay, one more. I feel confident in my ability to teach with an anti-bias, culturally responsive lens. So this is agree, I'll read it again. I feel confident in my ability to teach with an anti-bias, culturally responsive lens. So think anti-bias education, think social justice standards. Those are things that exist. Okay. All right. We're a confident group for the most part. There's some in the middle here. All right, confident side. Tell me why you're there.
I think that when it comes to like the they're kind of all over the place. It's easier to school to figure out and I think that is
Okay. Okay. Do we feel that we should be staying neutral as teachers?
I feel like it's important to accept all all the different. I think this is a place where they come together and we're learning skills on how to
Right.
in the classroom. So in the classroom, I feel like it's important to again set norms for people to come together. And just be unbiased as you can. I mean,
Yeah, so neutral as in like accepting all of our students, right? And kind of respecting where they are. Yeah, Julia.
Well, in that sense, yes, you should stay neutral. I don't think you necessarily have to like be neutral, but it's more you just have to like learn your biases and learn how to work with them. They're not something that you can ignore. Them. So it's something I've definitely like pride myself on. I've done a lot of work to be like work with my biases and know what they are. So like when I'm in the classroom, I'm aware of what I'm saying and what I'm thinking. I think towards my kids, what I do is I'm more kind of like question their thinking rather than telling them they're right or wrong. So like in that sense, I'm not neutral, I'm not this way, I'm not that way. I'm kind of just like letting them pick what they want. So like my kids are like, oh, why are you wearing a dress if you're a boy? Like, why can't you wear a dress? And I'm not telling them like wrong or right, but I'm just like encouraging that conversation for themselves as well to explore that thought themselves.
Yeah, so that's great. So it sounds like you've done a lot of reflective practice, which is an important part of being a teacher, particularly an early childhood teacher. And we will all do some of that in this class as well. We'll talk about anti-bias education and social justice standards and think about how we can incorporate those ideas into just our everyday practice and the content that we teach. And we'll do some reflection on our own. And we all come with bias, right? We all come from a certain perspective and way of wanting to teach and learn. And so it's really important that we're reflecting on those things all the time, right? All right, middle folks, any thoughts here?
I think as a person in an area of authority over kids who are so much younger and have yet to develop their own opinions, it's important for a teacher to stay neutral. But at the same time, I think it's hard to. I think we have biases that we don't even know that we aren't aware of, and sometimes it's hard to stay on top of that. But also, what you were saying about, I had a situation in my class where there was a student who wanted to wear a princess dress, and he was a boy, and the other students are like, "You're a boy, you can't wear a princess dress." And me as a teacher immediately went to his defense, and I said, "Oh, you can wear whatever you want. He can wear a princess dress if that's what he wants to wear." But hearing how you handled it, I think it would have been much better for me to say, "Why can't he wear a princess dress?"
Then they look at me and they're like, oh, wait.
They don't know.
They don't know why.
Right,
So
because
then
they've
they're
just
like,
been
oh,
taught
maybe
one
this-
way of thinking and they haven't been thought to think critically about why they think that way, right? And so they just assume like, oh, this is wrong, like he's a boy and he should be wearing boy clothes and not a dress, right? They don't know why the hell they think that. They have no idea, right? So questioning them is a great way to get them to think more critically about where they come from. Cecily, do I see your hand up?
So I ran into a similar where one of our boys had long hair
Mm-hmm.
and one of the girls was like, but I said he can't do his choice.
Yeah.
So if I'm agreeing with his choice, would that make fine? Like, should I not agree? That's my stance and I think so. Or should I just say it?
I don't think it makes you, I think that it is, I wouldn't say that it makes you biased. I think it is something that you believe, and I think it's something you write down in your reflective notes, and that like, these are the things I believe, and how well, maybe will I think about addressing the girl who thinks that this boy shouldn't be wearing those things, right? So I think to Julia's point, like asking the question, right? Like you can, I think it's fine to advocate for your student, whatever beliefs you have, right? But I think it's important that we don't dismiss another child's opinion, right, or thoughts, right, because then they don't feel valid or heard. And so it's a great teachable moment, right, to say, oh, well, I think he can wear whatever he wants because it's his choice, but why do you think that he shouldn't be having painted nails or long hair, right? And then you have a whole conversation about it. And I think that, right, that's education for freedom, right? This is what Bell Hooks talks about, is that you're asking young children questions that they've never even thought about. They just think that they have one opinion. There's no freedom in their choice or their thought. They've never been taught to think critically about those things, right? So you're challenging them to think in that way. So yeah, I mean, I probably would have done something like, fine, do whatever you want. Yeah, why do you think you should?
I
Yeah,
think
Julia.
in situations like that, I'm a very, very perfectionist right now, so I feel like
Oh, you're gonna have some fun stories for us.
do I? It's hard because like I have very strong opinions on things.
Sure,
and then
yep.
necessarily that's better than us. Learn my biases and work with them all the time.
Right.
But a lot of the time, like I use examples as well. So, we look at hockey players. And then my mom comes to visit. She's very short. So I like so my kids. When my mom was short. That's just her care. And so like, but you have to like encourage the conversation and have a conversation and ask questions. So like what you're saying doesn't structure how they think, but they're more coming up with their situation.
Yeah, I think it's good advice. You don't want that part.
Right, but that's how you learn. Or you try to like remember things. If, for example, if I don't believe that voice, like I have to explain it.
But I think it's also okay to let your students know that you have an opinion about these things, right? And that it's okay that we don't agree, because we're not always going to agree on things, right? And that's fine, right? And we just need to understand where we're all coming from here, right? And that's fine. So I think that's important, right? You as a teacher have opinions about the way things should be, the way the world should be, right? And I think it's good for students to see that someone has an opinion, they have good ground for that opinion, right? They can explain themselves, they've thought critically about it. Because a lot of times people have these beliefs and they can't even explain why. They just have them because they've been taught to live in this crazy, like racist society that we live in, right? Or like their parents are teaching them these things. And then it's like they don't even question why they think that way. Oh, yeah, I don't know. That's new for me.
They'll say like.
Julia has another example.
It's hard to. And it was so
Well, and if they have an IEP, I mean, that is one form of like documentation that will go to how to support that student too. But yeah, I'm gonna tap out on that one because I don't know, but maybe Julia has some, you raise your hand.
So I teach 4 and 5-year-olds, by the way. So these are very extreme topics that come up in my classroom. So I have one student who is raised very like Roman Catholic conservative. This is this, like, there's 2 genders, there's like very like life is like this.
Mhm.
And they teach him in a way, they parent him in a way where this is how life is and nothing else exists. I have another student, long hair, is a boy, identifies as a boy, but his long hair, his uncles are gay, he like has all these things. So a topic that came up was marriage. Kids like to talk about love, they love to marry each other and
Yeah.
all that stuff, blah blah blah. And so somehow, not sure how, but they started talking about like boys can't marry boys and girls can't marry girls, and girls can marry boys. Well, I was like, let's take a step back. I'm like, you guys are 5 years old. That's insane. But my one kid is sitting there and he's like, no. And he's very aggressive and he's very, stern in the way that he's thinking because that's how he was raised. But you have to like, oh my God, it was a crazy situation. But I had to look at him and I'm like, why do you think that?
Mhm.
Well, mom said this. And I'm like, mom did say that, didn't she?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm sure mom did say that, but it was an insane situation, and it's something we did talk about it. And I think the way that I did it was really good, but now I'm blanking. But it was like insane. I haven't dealt with the whole like I identify as this thing. I think that is an older kids thing right now. I'm not sure if it'll travel into the younger ages, but
usually when the museums are older, they listen
Yeah.
to them, then they go to school, that's what they do.
Right.
It's my classroom.
Huh.
He-
This is like a whole new
Yeah.
thing. I'm gonna have to look this up
Yeah.
because I have no idea.
it's so hard. It's so crazy. And like talking to other teachers, like from
Yeah.
different schools, and they teach middle school, and like, well, this girl can go in the boys' locker room.
Yeah, we can all come and
We
sit
all
down.
need, like,
Yeah.
these different accommodations to
Right.
it. It's like all like confusing, and because those are opinions that people have that are like so strong. So those ones are hard to ignore.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess it's a conversation
But I
to be
think
like-
books are also, children's books are also good ways of kind of talking about and introducing and dealing with some of these kind of issues in your class too. So always go to a children's book, right?
Quotes for yourself.
There's a good answer in there, and a good thing to share with kids, right? All right, well, that was great. Making conversation. Let's talk a little bit about our class. Okay, so this class is hybrid, so you change the syllabus. And so this just means that we meet both here and do some asynchronous work. And obviously it's spring semester, but really it's winter. And so, you know, the weather is real crappy and we might be being remote. So, you know, we'll see kind of how the weather holds up. Did anyone have a class yesterday? That all remote? What a fun way to start the semester.
It was our first.
I know. I was like, I'm so glad was not teaching a class on Tuesday because I was like, oh God, teaching your first class, like you get to know everyone, you know, it's like learning online. Anyways, we'll meet, but oh, that is wrong, that number there. So we have a few more asynchronous classes, but we'll meet majority here in person. And then, again, asynchronous weeks will do work on your own. They'll be the weekly checklist, which I put on every week, and then there'll be like a welcome video and a lecture video, and then some associated assignment. Yeah.
When we have asynchronous weeks, are we meeting on Zoom?
No, so asynchronous weeks are not remote weeks. So asynchronous weeks are just like independent. You work kind of on your own. There are lecture videos that are posted, and so you'll do that, you know, during this class time if that works. So this class is always available, so you can come here and use this class during our class time if that's just like a routine you want to get into. So yeah, so that's how those weeks will work. And you will do a digital journal during those weeks. We'll talk about what that is in a little bit. Any other questions? So so asynchronous weeks have that. And obviously whatever and always around. So we talked about that. Yeah, so all of everything is in the syllabus. If anything changes, I'll post an announcement in there. Sometimes I'll shift some of the like assignment due dates, never to earlier, always to later, just kind of getting the feel for how everyone is feeling about workload. And so we'll kind of work together to make sure we can get everything done. And then, yeah, obviously the course outline in the syllabus tells us what we're doing. In all my slides, usually I try to have these little icons so you know, like, oh, there's something there to click on. So there might be like a website or another online resource, or there might be a video attached to there, or some kind of Google Doc. So just look out for those. Whoops. Any questions? All right, so we'll just kind of go through this briefly. Obviously read through it. So these are the texts. Hopefully you've gotten those. Course objectives, all that you read that stuff. So assignments. Again, we'll talk more about this throughout the class when assignments are due. But again. So one thing you will do is you will do a field trip, STEAM and the community assignment. And so there are full assignment guidelines for every assignment that's listed on here on D2L under the assignment guidelines module on D2L. So those have full write-ups of all the expectations for that assignment, formats and things like that. But this one you will, plan to visit. So you're just yourself will go and do a field trip somewhere. It doesn't need to be a paid thing. You can go to any kind of like nature center or the park or wherever. And then you will outline your process of planning. You'll actually go and visit. You'll do some documentation. You'll plan kind of mini lesson, some reflection. And so again, assignment guidelines are all on D12. We'll talk more about that assignment weeks. You will do 2 kind of demonstrations. So you'll do a science experiment, again, and a math game. These are both, you can do them with a partner or you can do them by yourself. I do not necessarily do forced group work. So it's up to you. I hope that in your work life, you will play nice with others, and that's necessarily something that we need. I know that everyone's schedules are different and sometimes it's hard to just kind of coordinate, right? But if you choose to, you can work with a partner. And so you'll do a science experiment. This is something that you will video record your experiment, maybe at home or wherever, and then you'll post it to D12. So it won't be something we do in class. But your math game, you will do a math game demonstration in class, so with a partner or by yourself. You'll create a math game that can be used as a center, a math center. So yeah.
I have like 2 questions.
Yeah,
So when you're like creating the video,
Mm-hmm.
do both of you, like if you do it with a partner, do both of you have to be in the video or?
That would be ideal that you're both doing the demonstration together. You don't each have to do it separately.
Great. And then also, if I like implemented this into like one of my lessons at work,
Yeah.
Can I like videotape that?
Yes, totally. Mhm. Yeah. Yep. Totally. Yes. We're working smarter, not harder. So yes. Any other questions about those things? Okay. You'll do 4 mini lessons in this class, so they're not like the big giant GCOE lesson that is everyone's favorite of all time. Don't lie, Gladys. You loved it. That
yes.
Gladys lost her assignment many times. It was a rough go, right? We did it though. We did it. We made it through. So you'll do kind of a modified version of a lot of lessons. So there'll be 4 of them. You'll do a math one, a science one, a social studies, and then you'll do an integrated lesson. And those are all due throughout the semester. You will do a station rotation. And so this you can work in small groups, which I do recommend. It just, I think, makes it a little bit easier, but you also don't need to if you don't want to. But and again, we'll talk more about station rotations as we get through the semester. But this is station rotations or blended learning models are used a lot for kind of differentiation of instruction. And so you will plan 3 stations and you will present them in class last day, I think. So this is like way of that. Digital journals, which we'll talk about today. So those are for asynchronous weeks. You will do a digital journal. And this will just be kind of the application of your learning in a digital journal format, and hopefully something you can probably use it for like 2nd grade, but lots of you want to teach younger grades. So, and then obviously course engagement. So, come to class when we're here, engage in the class. Just, I don't necessarily do like attendance, get some points for every class. Engage in things online, make sure you're checking, doing the weekly checklists and watching the videos and all of that stuff. So any questions? So that is pretty much it.
How many people can they make it?
No more than 3, because there's like 3 stations. So and then here's the course outline and our kind of schedule. So you'll see here, right, the topics, the readings, the assignments that are due, and when we're meeting on campus and when doing kind of asynchronous work. And Lincoln's birthday is during our semester, so we don't have class because university's closed. So week 4 has no class. Get a day off. Kind of messes up the schedule for me. So yeah, so I'll let you all look through that and let me know if you have questions, and we'll talk more about all of the assignments throughout class. And again, there's like full assignment guideline write-ups on every one of these assignments. Good, everyone's good? Yeah, thumbs up, thumbs down, no idea what's happening. All right. Okay, so digital journal. So if you have a computer, you can try to, or your tablet or something to try to pull this up. Want you to at least try to get it set up. So you'll see the little icon here. So this is the example of mine, so you can look at that and look at it. And there's a template copy in a moment on the next slide, but this is essentially the digital journal. So this is again something you can use with your students someday if you'd like. But it's just every week that we are asynchronous, there will be a digital journal activity, and it will obviously align with the content for that week. And so this is the example journal that I provide that will kind of give you some examples of the questions, right? So responses to some of the questions and prompts that Julie.
We're doing fine.
So in the, so go to week 1. Yeah. And go to the slides.
Oh, it's just.
Yeah, and then it's linked inside the slides.
Oh, perfect.
Okay. So then if you go to the next slide, you will see that there is a template linked there. Again, those little icons that I have. And if you don't want to do this right now, that's fine. Just make sure you get it set up before next week. But what you'll do here is you'll make a copy of this template, and then where it says for students, you'll just add your name. And then you can, add your name here to the front. And this will be your digital journal. Make sure you share it with me so that I have access to it, so that I can look at it and grade it and provide feedback. Again, this will be something that we do during asynchronous weeks, so you can see that there's different links here. All right, so when you're in here, right, everyone knows how to make a copy, right? You'll go up here to the file, make a copy of the entire presentation. So save it wherever you want. So when you obviously save it, just make sure you add your name there. And then once you make your copy, just make sure you go up to share and just make sure that it's shared with me, so that I can have access to it and I can edit it too. So I can leave comments and things. So yeah, so then you will have, this is it. This is your journal. So you'll see that there are some weeks where there aren't extra pages. And so what you'll do, let's see, so you're going to insert. Do it on here first so I can actually see it. All right, so you'll just go to the, add the new slide, and then you can just change the layout. So you'll go here, apply layout, and you'll see this blank page. Once you go to the apply layout, there's probably an easier way to do this, but, and then you can just add that blank page. And so on the blank page, what you'll do is you'll insert, you know, like a text box or image or, you know, it will just depend on what it is that you all want to put in your digital journals for that week and how you want to respond to the prompts. And so you can add text box where you can write things. Sometimes there'll be templates of things you can add. You can add, you know, insert pictures or videos. So sky's the limit. Does that make sense? So yeah, so just play around with that. And let me know if you have any questions. Next week, you'll do your first digital journal for our first asynchronous week. And don't stress out about it. Like you can't figure it out or it's being weird. Like we'll figure it out. It'll get done. So don't worry about it. Okay. All good. Does anyone need a snack yet? No one has gotten a snack. You did? Oh my gosh, and you're here?
It's not people now.
Did you just get like, you didn't get like
I
knocked
mean,
out?
it's already out.
Oh, yeah. God. I had my wisdom tooth taken out. Just harder when you're older, right? It's like not, this is like what we do when we're supposed to do when we're like teenagers, right? Like a couple of years ago now, maybe 3 years ago. And it was so terribly painful. It didn't get like put under. I just was like, suck it out. I got this. It's fine, you know? And like, I was like, you need to shoot me with more of that numbing stuff. This hurts so bad.
I was out for mine.
Oh my God, it was terrible. Yeah, Dan. Oh my God. Did you get knocked out or you just?
No, yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, oh God, it was terrible. And then they like severed a nerve or something. And so like my whole face on this side was like numb for like months.
Oh, but in such a way,
Yeah.
and I didn't, they're like, because that, it's like very common. I think, I don't know if you had her name, she was in one of our classes, maybe.
Yeah.
Her daughter had to give it.
Yeah.
They broke her jaw
Oh
when she was under.
my God. Ugh, yeah, teeth. I'm like, why can't it just be easier? How come we only got this one set? Oh, it's terrible. Yes. All right. Anyways, all right. We've digressed. Okay, let's come back. Hopefully, you know what? Thank you for being here after getting your wisdom teeth out.
Like I never been off on time.
Great. I'm glad you're feeling good. I'm just having like, you know, some trauma from my time remembering all of this. All right. So let's talk a little bit. We probably won't do all of this since we've had lots of great conversations. We'll just come back to some of these things in the coming weeks, but let's just lay some foundation of, you know, what we're going to be doing in this class, which we've been talking about already. So starting with this picture image, pedagogical content knowledge. Has anyone heard of this? That's right. Yes. All right. Everyone's taking my classes now. They heard about it. And so, you know, essentially this is what we need to know to be able to teach, right? We need to know both pedagogical knowledge, right? So knowledge of how to teach. So in this class, we'll be thinking about some methods for how we teach some of this content, pedagogical approaches, so teaching and learning approaches, like project approach, which I just mentioned. You need to know about content, right? So we need to know something about math, science, and social studies and STEM. We need to know some of that content. And we need to then know how to teach math, right? And teach science. And then obviously in early childhood, there are like lots of ways that we're teaching this content in similar ways because it's young children and we all know that young children learn in certain ways through play-based hands-on ways. But one important thing to always be considering is this kind of outer circle which I've added here, is this idea of developmentally appropriate practice and knowledge of child development. Right? We always want to be thinking about and grounding the way that we teach in developmentally appropriate ways. So thinking about where the child is at, thinking about what they're able to do at certain ages, right? Certain abilities that they might have or might not have, and how we teach within those parameters. And we will talk about, I've mentioned several times already, learning trajectories. And so there's this amazing website for math, and it's mathematical learning trajectories. And it helps us think about and blend these ideas of kind of development and where children are at, and how we build knowledge and skills in math in developmentally appropriate ways. And it gives you, it's a free website, it's amazing, and access to that. And so that teaches you what they should be learning, what children should be learning at certain ages and stages, and then how to teach. So examples of, right, the methods that you might use or activities. So all right, let's skip this for today because I don't have that much time. I don't want to stay to go in. But review this, and we'll talk about these in the coming weeks. So so there's the 3 position statements that I posted on the syllabus and on D2L. And so these are just good things to review and flag and have them on hand for your careers as teachers, in thinking about how do we teach these content, you know, math, science, and social studies in developmentally appropriate ways. And so look through. So here's the one on math from the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics. And National Science Teachers Association. So they have a position statement. Specifically, this one is really geared towards very young, so preschool and pre-kindergarten. And then they have another kind of statement about K-2, which actually it's pretty much all of elementary grades. And we'll talk about that and look at that a little bit later. Start talking about those early primary grades. And then the National Council of Social Studies also has a statement about teaching social studies in early childhood. So review these, and we'll talk about that. Any questions so far about pedagogical content knowledge? Did anybody review the statements and like has like burning thoughts? I didn't think so. So it's okay. We'll come back to them. But yeah, try to review them and we'll talk more about them. All right, what are these things? What are content, concepts, and skills? This is just some kind of lingo that I want us to all become familiar with, since we'll talk about this throughout this semester. So thoughts. When you think of content, what do you think? So the thing you're teaching is the content, right? So these are content areas. There's bigger content, there's smaller content areas within them, right? So science, let's just pick one and then we'll all come up. So I'm going to say the content that I'm teaching is life science, right? So this is a subtopic, sub-content area of just the sciences, right? So what are concepts and skills? And we'll just stand up and you can just come up and add them. We'll make a little map, right? So what are some concepts that I might learn in life science? Look it up. Google it. Right up there. Get up, girl. Don't stand during this class. Everyone's gonna get up. We're not lounging here. There are no right or wrong answers today.
Yeah. I put it, yeah, I noticed that when I opened it to make it particularly stinky one. It's gray erase bold. That's why. Keep your sticky bold marker down there. Okay, so we've got some things. Any other thoughts? As 15 people, bless you. 15 people post. Right, so we have content, life science is our content area or our subject, right? We might use those interchangeably, so we'll be teaching about all of these things in early childhood. And so some of the concepts that you might be thinking about are living and non-living things or life cycles. And even within these, right, there's probably other kinds of conceptual ideas that you'll be teaching about. But yeah, these are generally kind of the concept areas. So a concept you might think about with life cycles is what?
Plants.
Plants. Looking for a concept. Think about concepts. Let's dig real deep to our science. Think about your biology class. Think about things you teach. What about metamorphosis? Right? So, yeah, right? So these are like conceptual ideas, right? Like the things we teach about, right? Will come here, right? Life cycle, or even, right? These are kind of somewhat related, right? So the skills, right? So there's obviously lots of skills as well. It's not just about concepts that we're trying to teach, but we are also trying to teach particular skills to our students that we hope are transferable skills that they'll be able to use and transfer over to other content areas, right? And some of these things, yeah, might be problem solving or critical thinking. We'll talk about things like science process skills, right? Certainly parts of like inquiry, like asking questions. Those are all skills that we want to equip young children with because we want them to be able to do those things across their life, but also in other content areas. Other thoughts on content, concepts, and skills? So obviously we can do this map with many content areas within the sciences. We can think about math. So we'll talk more about all of the content areas within math, social studies. Is that clear? Content, concept, skills, kind of how we define and think about what those mean. Yeah, we're okay. We're like maybe in the middle. Yeah, we're good.
So the content is the subject,
Mm-hmm.
concept is the metamorphosis.
Right.
And the skill is how to do it.
Yeah, so the skill is the how of learning, right? So the process of what we do to get there, right? Where the concepts are kind of the things that we're learning, right? And the outcome maybe that we're looking for. And they're both equally as important. We often think in education, the outcome is so important. We need to get, which it is, right? We need our students to be meeting certain standards by the end of first grade, right? Because they need to be able to do that so that in second grade, they're good and they can kind of go do second grade stuff and feel like they have the foundation.
So we definitely have to be thinking about the outcome piece. But again, when we think about how they're getting there, we also need to be thinking about those process skills and the process in which, you know, the student is going to get there. Or you think about math, right? This is an easy, I think, explanation. You ask your students to show their work, right? We all remember having to show our work, right? You're like, just like, why do I have to do all this? But you know what it does? It shows you, me as the teacher, how you got there. You might get the right answer, but the process is all kinds of wonky, right? Or you get the wrong answer, and I can see in the process where you went wrong. So it's really important that we teach process. And that process can look lots of different ways, right? Because we know that conceptually learning is going to be different. But we really want to emphasize process, and we want to emphasize process skills in the sciences, particularly because these are great transferable. Right. So when we had our PCK, I'm just going to use that for pedagogical content knowledge because saying that is really it's too long. Tongue twister. So when we had our PCK image right around, we had development. And so obviously we have to be thinking about development and planning with development in mind. And so two theorists that we've all used many times, right? Piaget and Vygotsky are, and there are many others, right? Many others that we can use and we'll use. So there's Venter, there's social learning theory, there's modeling, right? All of those things. But we need to be thinking about kind of where children are developmentally. And then we need to also be thinking about what they can do with our help, right? We're teachers, so we are kind of innately Vygotskian people because we are there to support and scaffold learning for our students. And so, again, thinking about developmentally where they are, milestones, right? All of that good stuff. Again, digging back to your development courses that you've taken and thinking about that. So again, the how, right? So the pedagogy side. So these are just a few, like your textbook talks about some of these, some I've added. Obviously thinking about informal context as a museum person, right? Informal contexts are really important. You will do their field trip assignment and that will be a part of that. But again, thinking about both learning experiences, strategies, approaches to learning. We'll talk more, you'll do more of that stuff next week. And so one thing I always like to note too is think about the role of conversation. So my research actually looks at conversational interactions in museums between children and their parents. But it's a really powerful tool to support children's thinking. And so if we ask more open-ended questions, we keep that joint talk happening. So having kind of dialogue with our students, we know that that's going to help them learn. There's lots and lots of research that shows that and suggests that. So don't ask yes or no questions, right? Ask open-ended questions. Think about ways to keep conversations going. So these are all tools and strategies, right, to be thinking of when you're teaching this. Obviously inquiry, right? We'll talk again more about this. But this is one pedagogical approach that we use a lot in early childhood. Inquiry-based learning is kind of really central to the work that we do. So there's a Google Doc here if you want to kind of copy and play around with it. This is one way, right, in thinking about the content and the concepts and the skills. So kind of what we just did up here on the board. All right, so let's just take a few minutes. I know it's like everyone's fading away. Feel it. I always feel it. There's like that moment where like everyone's vibe like shifts. And I see you all like fading away. But you just let's have a conversation just like with your neighbor. You don't have to do the full activity. And just think about like a concept and think about what that would look like across developmental periods. So think about how you would teach, counting to an infant and toddler, or how that learning would look. Maybe you're not even teaching, right? Maybe it's passive. And then how would that look in preschool? How would that look in primary grades? So we'll be like loose with it. So just with your neighbor, pick a concept, whatever you want, and think about what that looks like across areas. So again, I want us to be getting into the mindset of thinking about what are the big concepts we're teaching, because we're teaching the same ones over many years, right? But it looks different and they build, right? So I need to be able to count to be able to add and do multiplication and number operate, right? All those things. So, all right, so let's just take a few minutes, turn to your neighbor or a small group. This is it. Final stretch. You guys stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me. Look alive.
So like for math, like for infants and toddlers, like a lot of it is.
This is why I bring snacks.
Sorting.
You need to refuel your
Like
mind.
different colors or like shapes and sizes of different counting pairs. Like we have bigger ones, and medium ones, they have small ones. So putting those in groups and like counting them, like a lot of it is like building things. Like as I get older, I guess it gets more complicated. The toys change too, the concepts change.
There's like adding more to the concepts, right? More, they're learning more when they're like in the upper grades, like more ideas.
Yeah, and they have more complex thinking as they get older, so it changes how they talk about it. Yeah, I mean, you can change the concepts and do different things. Like, I wouldn't necessarily do like a certain science experiment with the infants as I would with like 5-year-olds or kindergartners.
I don't really see science with the little babies that much.
With infants?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of hard, even though they get to go maybe like outside to play.
Yeah. There's like environmental science for them. Yeah. Intentional things, like intentional science with infants is hard. Like, I don't know how to do it either.
I don't see maybe like mixing colors, but it's not really.
Right. That's just a concept that has to repeat itself later on. And like weather, if they go outside, but that's like through experience.
But upper grades with weather, they're not really. They're just like experiments. Our projects.
Yeah.
But for infants, for that topic, they can't really.
Yeah. Infants are we don't have it.
The infants for sure they can't go outside, even though if they just still have like those barriers to push them around, they're not really touching.
So yeah, they're not interacting.
They're being pushed around.
I was thinking, I feel like that's probably pretty much. Yeah, if they're not doing the block right after that, I don't think they should be allocated the sign. Or basically their boss.
Professor Howe taught the same classes you taught, so
The 301 class?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
So a lot of us had her.
yeah,
And then the other half had you.
yeah.
So if it was split in half. Yeah.
Yeah, so the blocks were split, like.
Yeah. That's why these two rounds, like,
Yeah.
but we all know each other from our last time.
Yeah, it's like Gladys and some of the students I've had, the last 3 semesters, they've been in.
Yeah.
Shapes 2 and 3. But then it's sad because this is the last class I have with you guys. Like, I won't see you guys again until graduation.
What?
Yeah, I don't teach any block 4 or 5 classes. So.
Cause I think, yeah, Dr. Howe was supposed to teach this class, but she's on
I always teach this class. This is like my class, 355.
then there was one, maybe there's one like next year, but she's on this sabbatical.
Yeah, that's why I taught her 3.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
For 3?
I don't teach any other. I mean, 11, they
Really?
give me a new class. We have a grad program now, so I'm teaching grad classes too. So,
I might, but like,
yeah, we have an MAT program. So, but you're already doing the like licensing part, so. Right, because you're in the BA. Yeah. Yeah, so we like a lot of the same. So if you want to get a grad degree, just like a instruction or something, like a lot of people get that.
I'm gonna get a couple like
Or a TESOL, there's just like a TESOL master's, I think. Yeah.
I'm gonna get a couple like endorsements. If
Yeah.
I do plan on going into middle school, I have to get a whole different. So I'm gonna get the endorsement for elementary school. 'Cause that's just
Right.
like all the classes.
Yeah.
But for middle school, you have to.
Yeah, because then you can only teach till like 5th grade, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. If
But it's good to have options. You know,
if I do plan on
you'll
doing that, I have to go.
definitely be more desirable to principals.
Yeah.
Because you'll be able to teach
Everything,
across.
yeah.
Which I always hated when they took 3rd grade away from us, because the type of car used to include 3rd grade, and then they took it away, so. I just feel-
Them, but for you, like you're easy to move anywhere.
Right.
So it's like you get used to teaching 3rd grade, but then they move you to 5th
Yeah.
or to
And
kindergarten.
it's very different, right?
Yeah.
When you teach early childhood compared to like, yeah. Okay, let's come back and, who wants to share what they were discussing in their groups? Okay. Crystal, tell us.
Studying,
Okay.
same room, but it's like different.
Yeah. Well, mixed stage is fine too. That's
Yeah.
the Montessori way. Yeah.
So in this video class that I taught, I mean, they barely have like any training. So like.
Oh, wow.
very low skill, we have to learn it. And, doing math was kind of like a lot of, and we have to start with that because I coordinated them through that. Point out.
Mm-hmm.
what the concept area. And then, once kind of like a rote, system like, and it comes like a song in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that? Then we start with like quantifying what is actually 1, 2, and then at that age, it kind of solidifies at
Mhm.
that time in forms. You take that quantity and then you become a symbol, start remembering the symbols and going on there. And then it's my experience.
Yeah. Others? Thoughts? Right, so there's like, so thinking about infants and toddlers and younger children, right? We're really thinking about a lot of us guiding the learning and using these teachable kind of informal moments, right? These naturalistic experiences to start calling out things like number, maybe, or then we're using hand over hand to help with counting, or we're just on a walk in the neighborhood and we're looking for numbers, or we're counting out loud as, you know, the children are there listening. And then, yes, obviously then it builds. And we will talk about that building of number sense and what that looks like, because it's probably the most important skill for young children is number sense. So, but I won't talk more about it. 'Cause we'll talk more about it in coming weeks. What else did other people have? Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you don't even realize that.
Mm-hmm.
Later, like drawing or talking about what shapes their houses are,
Mm-hmm.
and then you know, three-dimensional shapes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. And shapes, and even like other other things that I was thinking of as you were talking, right? So like spatial awareness, right? Doing puzzles is builds spatial awareness, which is a mathematical idea as well, and is related to like map making, which is a social study, right? So you start to see to like kind of all the integration and the ways that you can start thinking about lots of different concept learning happening at one time. But yeah, so you learn about, and then you draw shapes and you think about attributes of shapes, right? So what makes a triangle, what makes a square. And then you draw it, then you build it, right? So you have 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional. Yeah, it's great. Other thoughts?
We talked about like, I guess it does go with stuff, but we talked about like sentence forming.
Okay.
And like how like as infants you start to learn like one word and then you start to go with like 2 words and then preschool it starts to form and then by kindergarten like they're starting to write like basic sentences and then as you continue like first grade, at least at the school I work at, they're already writing like some paragraphs. So
And there's a lot of mathematical ideas in reading and writing, right? There's patterns, there's spatial awareness, there's
space management. It's this far.
Right.
So it's like there's like different parts of stuff that are like sentence forming, then it's your vocabulary. So expanding is your
right. Yeah. So math is everywhere. Math is the most important content area we can be teaching young children because it applies to so many other areas. And there's tons and tons of research that shows that if you do well in math in early childhood, that you are going to be much more successful in all other areas of learning. So we spend a lot of time talking about math in this. So more time talking about math content and teaching math in early childhood than science and social studies, because it's such a foundational thing to teach young children, and is related to being able to read and write, do science. So, all right. Any other thoughts? We've officially faded away. I should start playing that song. I'll play that at the end. It's like the ending song when we've all faded away. Okay, wrap it up. All right, so next week is our first asynchronous week. So you're going to do your digital journal. So make sure you take some time to create that journal, the copy, and share it with me if you haven't done so already today. If you have any questions, just let me know. I am available, obviously during office hours, but can be available whenever you all need me. So let me know. Just make sure, checking the weekly checklist, which will be there every week. We'll talk about teaching and learning strategies and think about station rotation and blended learning. So that's what you will do at the end of class. Introduce backward design, which is an approach to planning that is, I think, the best way to plan. But again, my opinion, you all will let me know, give me feedback. And think about learning standards. And you'll do your first digital journal. So that's next week. So again, asynchronous, so we won't meet here. You'll do your, you can, if you would like to come here as a part of just like staying in a routine, this class is always going to be available during asynchronous week. So you can certainly come back here and do your work here if you need a quiet place to work. Or you can, manage your time however it works for you. Any questions? I posted the, this like little kind of self-reflection, so you don't have to do this. You might have already done this if you haven't done it. If you can do it, at some point in the next week, that would be great. I like to see how everyone's kind of feeling about the content. It's similar to kind of Likert scale and what we're doing, thinking about STEM. So yeah. All right, I think that's it. Any questions? We did it. We survived week 1. Cross it off. Done. All right, well, let me know if you need anything or if you have any questions. Again, I'm around. I can be available during our class time next week if you need me to be around. That's also fine. I'm not like going to the beach or anything. Here, still here. All right, well, have a great night. Stay safe and warm. And so come and get a snack for the road.
What?
You're in the class tomorrow?
I think so. Which one? Possibly. If I'm honest, not sure. I do have one tomorrow. I can. I know. It's so annoying. 2 of my classes are not open still. Yeah, tomorrow, Thursday. 3:38. Like, young assistant.
Yeah.
Okay, then yes.
You guys all have Dr. Wells next?
Yeah.
Are you trying to get
Yeah, like.
Yeah.